When you launch a brand new phone line, sometimes it takes a little bit of luck for it to be successful. Well, after 10 iterations of a phone, I have to say it's an overwhelming success if you last for 10 generations. Well, I'm Alex, the Hypnotech, and today we are reviewing the Galaxy Note 10. And I personally have not used a Galaxy Note phone since the Galaxy 2, the Note 2. And that phone was my last daily driver that I used for multiple years. I used that phone for 3 years. That was before we started Hypnotech. And ever since Hypnotech started, I've been switching phones within a year or even less. So I have a very big affinity for the Note line. And I'm gonna take a deep dive look into the ultimate Note 10, 10 generations of this phone. What does it all build up to? We'll talk about that right now. But before we begin, I just wanted to ask a quick favor. Hit that like button if you like videos like this. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and also the bell button so you don't miss a single video from us in the future. So the Galaxy Note line used to be the ultimate big screen phone. If you wanted a big screen phone, there was only one option out there, and now it was the Galaxy Notes. At least that was what it was like when I was last using the Galaxy Notes. And over the years, that has completely deteriorated because the rest of the field has caught up. Nobody's making small phones anymore. They're all making huge phones. So this phone no longer is the biggest phone on the market. It no longer is the bulkiest phone on the market. It no longer has the biggest screen on the market. So what exactly is a Galaxy Note in 2019? A lot of other tech reviewers would say that the stylus is what classifies the Galaxy Note. I actually want to argue against that in this review. And I want to make the argument that when you think of Android, when you think of the flagship Android phone, the highest quality Android phone out there in the market to represent the Google Android space, you don't think of the Pixel. The general consumer will think of one phone. It is this phone right here, the Galaxy Note 10. So does the Galaxy Note 10 hold up to that flag bearer expectations that a lot of people have of it? So to answer that question, there are three things we need to discuss. The first being the display. So the Galaxy Note has always been known for its display, the big display, the highest quality display, the sharpest, the nicest density, pixel density that you can get in the markets. This year, I hate to say it's a little bit different. Note 10 is no longer the highest end phone you can get from Samsung. There's a phone even more expensive and higher than this, the bigger version of the Note 10. That's a new thing. We've never had that. There's always just been one variant of the Note 10. In this phone, we do have some sacrifices here to hit this lower price point. I'm doing a lower price point with quotes because it is cheaper than the bigger one, but not by much. So the Note 10 is still using those awesome dynamic AMOLED displays made by Samsung. Samsung still makes the best AMOLED displays. It is a 19:9 aspect ratio, very standard stuff we've been seeing this year, 6.3 inches, and it's only a 1080p display. I want to say only. I sound spoiled, but when you buy a Note phone, you've come to expect the highest eye-popping specs. And we don't have that here. We only have a 401 PPI density. Like I said before, we're used to expecting some eye-dropping PPI counts from Samsung Note phones, and we just don't have that this year on this phone. 401 is still fine. The display is actually really good. I do love this quality display, and you see these curved edges. It's very subtle now compared to earlier versions of these curved displays, but I do like it a lot, and it adds this whole premium feel to it. The colors are obviously sharp. It's a little saturated more so when you look at pictures here than you say on a color corrected monitor that you have, but overall it's a very enjoyable display and you know what you're getting with Samsung. So we talked about the first thing and now we need to talk about the second thing. Performance when you're paying so much money is very important, and that is covered by a Snapdragon 855. So every year the Note line has the highest end Snapdragon processor in there, and we also have that here, no difference here. It is backed by 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. No micro SD card support on here, however. Gone are the days where we used to look at Samsung with just the highest end specs every year. We come to expect something that we're not expecting. We've seen 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's not crazy. These last couple of years, Samsung has been more tame with the specs. However, the performance is still very, very, very good. I've used the Snapdragon 855 a lot this year on multiple phones, some gaming phones as well. And I would like to make the comment that I enjoy using this phone more than any phone I've used in 2019. And that's saying a lot. Performance is very smooth. It doesn't even have a 90 hertz display, for God's sake. I've used phones with 90 hertz display. Lita is reviewing the Pixel 4 XL right now, and I love using the Pixel 4 XL display. I love using 90 hertz display. I wish this had that. This only has a 60 hertz display refresh rate, and I can definitely tell the difference here. It feels archaic going back to this display, but I do have to say, I do like this experience on this phone regardless. For most people out there who have never used a higher than 60 hertz refresh rate, they won't know the difference. They will still see this as a very smooth, fluid phone, and that is exactly what this is. What about the camera, right? Cameras have completely taken over what we need with a smartphone. That is very important for every phone. Samsung, once again, traditionally, if we look back traditionally, they have always made very solid cameras. Sometimes they're the best in the market, sometimes they're just hovering around the top. We have 3 cameras on this phone. It is a 12 megapixel f1.5 to 2.4 wide lens. Then we have a 12 megapixel f2.1 telephoto lens and a 16 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide lens. So what's cool about this phone that I do like about its camera interface is how easy it is to switch between the 3 cameras. They have the little icons right there. You can stand in the same position, click on it 3 times, click and rotate between the 3, and you get 3 completely different frames to shoot. It is so easy to do and so easy to use, and I do miss that when I'm playing with the Pixel 4 XL. You don't get that with the Pixel 4 XL because we don't have an ultra wide there. Now, picture quality, however, it's relatively solid. I do think they overprocess it with this HDR a little bit more, and I think the shots are a little more grainy than I would have expected. It wasn't as sharp as I wanted it to be. And I might have been spoiled from coming from the Pixel 3. I used the Pixel 3 a lot earlier this year. Sometimes I have a little difficulty with exposure on this phone on automatic mode as well. But it's a decent camera overall. I feel like most people buying this phone for the camera probably won't be too disappointed. But if you're expecting to be blown away, that's not this phone. If you want to be blown away by a camera, you gotta look to Google, you gotta look to Apple. So it passes its marks in those 3 categories for me. Now, what it doesn't pass its marks for are these next 2 things that I'm gonna talk about. Battery life. 3,500 milliamp hour battery. I do wish that I would get a little more life out of this. I wish it would have pumped up the battery a little bit, but the battery life is average. I would say it's about average. I got about like 3.5 to 4 hours of screen on time with, I could get 12 hours a day, which is pretty good. It's actually above average for me, slightly above average. Some other minor disappointments I have with this phone are the biometric sensors that they have on this phone. So you can unlock this device in one of 2 ways. It's in-display fingerprint scanner and also face recognition. So we'll start with the fingerprint scanner. It is an in-screen fingerprint scanner now, no physical one. And I have to say I did not like using this at all. And yes, this is still relatively new tech. We've only been seeing this in phones these last couple of years. And I do believe this generation's in-display fingerprint scanners are better than last year's, but still it is unreliable, it's slow, you have to hit a right position, and even then it takes a little bit longer than I would like it to unlock. There's been many times where I'm pressing it, it says press harder, I press a little harder, it still doesn't recognize it. It just doesn't hit it correctly. I know some of you guys are gonna say, oh, it works perfectly for you, but for me, it doesn't work that well. And the face scanner is surprisingly not that fast. I would think this would be a little bit faster compared to what I've been using with Apple and also now with the Pixel 4 XL. The Pixel 4 XL and its face unlock is lightning fast. I know there are security issues. We've read those too, and we have tested it. And yes, Lita is doing a video on that stuff very soon. If you haven't seen the unboxing video of the Pixel 4 XL, I'll have a link below, but you should watch that because she unlocked that with her eyes closed as well. We're going to talk about that in our review of the Pixel 4 XL. So let's talk a little bit about the convenience factor of this phone. There's a lot of things that have this whole premium feel to this device. First off, there's Qi charging, right? So flagship phones, all of them nowadays have Qi charging. This has Qi charging with its glass back. Ergonomics of the phone is terrific as well, with these curved edges. And you know, Samsung just makes some really grandiose phones. Like, they just feel very elegant and nice to hold. When you're holding this phone with its frame, with its glass back and the glass wrapped around the front of the display, it just feels like a premium experience and it feels very comfortable in your hand. That's what we also have here. I did put a skin on the back. I didn't particularly like the way it shined with light on the Aura Glow design of this particular back. So I put a naked skin from Slick Wraps, for those of you guys who are curious what it is. It's a Slick Wraps skin, and I do like how it looks on this a little bit more. Now, holdability is also a very big thing for me because I'm a compact phone lover, right? I love smaller phones. I believe this is actually smaller than the Galaxy S10 Plus, and side by side with the Pixel 3 XL, it is actually not that big. It is compact. It is compact for a big phone. That is weird as heck to say. I don't look ridiculous holding this, and that goes to show how Samsung has designed a very compact, big phone. And I can't believe we're saying that in 2019, compact, big phones. That's so weird to say, but that's what we have here. With this 19:9 aspect ratio, this near bezel-less display, there's not a lot of bezels. I don't necessarily like that whole hole punch design that they have here on this Galaxy Note 10, especially right in the center. I liked it a little bit more how they did it with the Galaxy S10e with the hole punch at the top right. If they had to do a hole punch, I'd rather have it on the corner. All right, let's talk about the S Pen now. You have to talk about an S Pen with a Note phone. The S Pen this year, the color matches the phone you get. We have a blue one to match this Aura Glow. I don't know why it's blue and not like this Aura Glow color, but blue is cool. I like the color. And like the previous couple generations of the S Pen, it is interchangeable. You can flip it in either way and it goes in. It has a little click button on the side. Features are relatively the same as it is for the previous generation of the Notes, the Note 9. So this year we have a couple additional little things you can do with the Note 10 stylus. And the first thing is these air gestures. So kind of like Google with what they're doing with the air gestures, you can use your S Pen to do that, to take photos, to swipe the camera, to flip it back and forth. We did a little in-depth video on that with our unboxing video. So if you haven't seen that, it's going to be in the description below. Watch that video if you're interested in seeing how the S Pen works. But the S Pen in general, overall, is very much the same as previous Notes. So if you're into the Note 8, the Note 9, and how the stylus works on that, it's more of the same here. Slight improvements. Some of the features I doubt you'll be using a lot. You'll be using the copy and paste stuff, the easy crops. Those are cool. They're productivity things that you might like. You know, I tried really hard to make an asserted effort to use the stylus on this phone more often, and I did a pretty good job of it in the first couple weeks. Yes, I'm using a Note 10 without using the stylus, and I'm living totally fine with it. And I still have to say I like this phone more than any other phone I've reviewed in 2019. I don't think it's the best phone in the world, but it is definitely one of the best phones out there. And if you like the Samsung design, if you like this whole glass premium feel, if you just like having the most expensive looking thing out there, there's no reason for you not to consider the Galaxy Note 10. This is a very premium phone. There's nothing for you to worry about. It does everything very well. It doesn't do everything the best like it used to. There was an argument in certain years that the Note of that year was the best phone of the year. I can genuinely say I don't think the Note 10 is the best phone of 2019. But that's all subjective. And this phone does so much so well that it doesn't matter that it's not the best at certain categories like the camera. It does everything, it does its camera work well enough to hit that price point. For what you're paying, I don't think you're gonna be disappointed. So this is a great phone. So I am arguing that this phone is not about the stylus. It is just a very damn good, premium, high-end, expensive looking, expensive feeling phone. And that's why you should buy the Galaxy Note 10. Once again, I'm Alex of Hypnotech. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think of the Note 10 and what you guys think of my comments on the Note 10. I have not used a Note in 8 generations, and I know a lot of you guys buy the Note every single year, so I would be very interested to read your comments on what you think of the Note 10. And I'll see you guys in videos very, very soon.
And that's it. Be sure to subscribe here, hit the bell button so you don't miss any of our videos, and check out our other videos right here. Until next time,